Hello. Hello. You ever feel like you're in your head too much? You ever feel like you're thinking too much, right? You ever feel like there's emotions within inside of you that kind of give you like a gut-wrenching feeling that you can't explain, right? You ever have negative hypotheticals or what ifs on things that have never happened or will never happen, right? You're kind of just like spiraling out into like an abyss of things that will never come to fruition. Yeah, well, that is side effects that come with anxiety, and guess what? That shit fucking sucks. Yes, it does. Well, let me read you the actual like definition of this shit real quick, right? Okay, so we got anxiety. It's an intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situations, right? And I heard something about this recently. Like, this was never really something that was so touched up on like back in the day, right? I guess mental health wasn't as popularized as it is now, right? As it was back then. In quotations, I don't really know when back then was. It's I'm overthinking right now, bro. Like, I'm anxious because I don't have the answer to exactly how I want to say this. Like, you're seeing it live right now, but let me just try and find it. Hold on, give me a second. Okay. Being anxious, it fucking sucks. We know this, right? I wanted to just get on here and tell whoever is gonna see this, whoever is gonna watch this, that you're not alone in this, right? I know it's cliche to say. I know it's hey, you're not alone, this and that, right? But it's fucking hard, man, to be vulnerable nowadays. It's hard to just open up and be in tune with yourself emotionally, right? It's hard, even with the people closest to you, even your mom, your dad, your best friend, your significant other, your sibling. It's hard to like get deep on some shit on why you feel the way that you do, right? And anxiety has been one of those huge fucking shitty emotions that have lingered in my life as of late. It's so crazy because last year, man, like, I felt like I was on cloud nine. I feel like I was at the top of the world with myself, spiritually wise, confidence wise. I was aligned in the path that I feel God set out for me, and I felt amazing. I never felt anxious, bro. I'm not even kidding you. But come this year, right, I get into a relationship and it opens up a whole new can of worms for me. Things that I didn't even realize that were still an issue within myself, right? The reason that past relationships had ended, right? Because of all this shit. And it's all coming all at once. But the biggest thing, right, with all this stuff, like, in this fucking cauldron that's getting mixed up right now, is my anxiety. And it's terrible, man. Like, at first, okay, I will tell you this, right? Months ago, horrible. Like, I would literally be laying in bed, bro, like, oh, like my stomach, like, oh, I could not move. Like, I was just like, I couldn't do shit. Like, it was terrible, bro. Even when I was out and about with family, friends, like, anxious, man, just like, I just wanted to be alone, bro. Like, I remember this one situation very vividly. We had moved into this house that I'm living in now. Like, we had moved into it, and within like the first week, I was taking my brother's like skateboarding and stuff, just trying something new, right? And I just remember being out there and not even being able to genuinely enjoy it because I was just so anxious. I was so in my head, right? And this pertains to what I had going on in my life personally at the time. So for me, it was like relationship wise, like, I was in a very, like, I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know why I felt the way that I did. I was like having trust issues, right, with my partner, when essentially it was like there was never really anything to be anxious or be in my head about, right? But when you have such like severe anxiety, it overwhelms you, man, and there's no, like, it just feels like there's no escape. You're just like stuck like in this fucking tiny little box, and it's just like caving in, and it's like it's getting like tighter and tighter and tighter and just darker and like tighter, and like you can feel it in your heart. Like, your heart's pumping, you're sweating, you can't breathe, you're trying to take deep breaths, but it's not working, and it's terrible, man. It's terrible. But I will say from my experience, like, it just took a lot of work to get where I'm at today. Like, I'm in this current moment in time, I'm still feeling anxious right now, right? Like I had a very anxious day today for no reason, right? I was at work and it was a beautiful day. I was out and about, just fucking breathing in the nice cold air and no clouds in the sky. It was beautiful. There was no reason to be anxious at all, right? I was gonna get off early. Everything was cool. I was drinking cold water. It was nice. It was smooth, but yet somehow still had that pit, like that gut in my stomach, right? And for me, this kind of ties into like just traumas that I have and like how I was raised and stuff. But it was like kind of like I don't understand, like my body, like my mind understands that it's okay to be okay, right? But my body doesn't get it yet. And I don't know if you can relate to that, but it's a very, very complicated feeling because like in your like soul, you're like, man, like everything's cool. I'm very blessed. I'm very appreciative of everything that is going on in my life right now, of everything that I have, right? Yet I'm just like assuming something bad's gonna happen. And like I said, this is something that just kind of ties into how I was raised and stuff. So it's a very, very, it's a shitty combination. Let's put it at that, right? That's a shitty combination to have, to think that the whole world's out to get you, to be a super anxious person. It just does not mix well together, right? But in all of this, it's kind of like I feel like I've been taking like a bunch of steps forward, but then like taking steps back at the same time, like in terms of self-improvement, in terms of just understanding my anxiety and shit. Like it's hard work, man. And that's why I kind of wanted to just get on here and just spit, like, because maybe you're going through like a similar thing, right? It's something that just feels so overwhelming. It feels like you can't escape it, man. Like you go to sleep anxious, you wake up anxious, and there could be completely nothing wrong. Your life could be smooth. Like there's nothing to be tripping about. Like your life could be so much worse, but you are in a good situation still nonetheless, right? And that I'm here to just speak from my experience that be patient. No matter what, be patient, stay grounded, and don't lose yourself too much in here. Like it's so easy to get caught up in your head. It's so easy to have negative thoughts, right? But the same way that positive thoughts come to your head, right? The same way that positive thoughts come in and they go out, you got to do the same thing with the negative thought, right? Anytime you feel anxious, anytime you start beating yourself up, anytime you feel that you're not good enough, or you feel that, you're not deserving of whatever it is that you have in your life, you have to stay grounded in that time. And for me, what I've been doing, I've been trying to get closer with God, right? Like I've been going to church. Like I've never, like I went to church maybe like 3 times in my life, like 3 times, right? Like 3 times in my life. And I've now gone to church the past 2 Sundays, right? And I'm about to go again this Sunday. So it's like in the past 3 weeks, essentially, I would have gone the same amount that I would have done my entire life, right? And I'm getting like out of my comfort zone because I wanted to get closer with God. And I will say, like, even if you don't believe in stuff, I think it's always important to have faith, to believe in something, right? It doesn't matter what it is, to just have something to believe in, right? Something that gives you or brings you value, right? That gives you a reason to keep going, to keep pushing, right? And for me, it was God. It was my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, man. Shout out my dog. But nonetheless, man, yeah, I just started doing that. And also meditating. Oh my God, like I had neglected this for so long, but meditation, man, like people talk about it so much, right? But it's so fucking legit. It is so legit. Actually taking the time to calm yourself, especially if you're a super anxious person, just taking the time to just relax, breathe, and not fucking think, bruh. Because as somebody who with extreme anxiety, you might also be somebody who's extremely analytical and extremely like hyper sensitive, I think is the word, right? Or you pay attention to very, very like little details. Like you're paying attention to every little thing, and to some advantage it could work, but most of the time if you don't know how to control it, it's shitty, right? Because then you just start looking at everything. It's like everything's pinned against you, man. But meditation, it helps calm that, right? It helps bring you back. It helps you stay present. It helps you stay in the moment. And I will say, like, I don't do meditation as much as I would like to, right? Like, I think the best practices that I do of it is like self-affirmations in the morning, just practicing my breathing and practicing like self-talk to myself, right? Because I think growing up I was very just like, my parents were there and everything, but like I was like also like extremely neglected. I'm just trauma dumping right now, man. But hey, I mean, we're here, we're family, right? We're gonna talk to each other. You're gonna tell me stuff in the comments too, right? But yeah, just nonetheless, meditation, man, like it helps ground you. It helps you stay present. And like I said before, like I want to do a better job of doing it more often. But I will say to you, if you're trying to figure out ways to just like battle the anxiety, right? This is definitely, actually I don't even want to say that, right? Because anxiety is it's a human emotion. It's a part of this experience, right? It's a part of your life. It's always gonna be there, right? And anxiety isn't exactly a bad thing either. It's a defense mechanism. It's like our body telling us that, you know, it's like warning us or giving us defense towards something that like is going to protect us in a way, right? But if you don't know how to control that, then it can get out of hand. And I think we're in a time and a day and age where everybody is overstimulated, man. Like overstimulated with just distractions of everyday life, distractions of just so much going on, man, that it's hard to just really take a step back, reflect, and just breathe, right? Like that's been the biggest thing for me with this anxiety, is like having solitude within myself, right? Because I have a very busy schedule. I'm constantly with people like all the time and stuff, and I'm always constantly trying to stay busy as well and like do things to better myself, better my career and stuff. And sometimes I find myself, you know, getting overwhelmed. It gets overwhelming. And when I get overwhelmed and I get overstimulated, I start getting in my head and I just start beating myself up, and then I go down a rabbit hole, and then I start taking it out on people, right? And that's never where you want to be. You never want to be at that point. And I'm a work in progress. You know, I'm not perfect, nor will I ever be perfect, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with just being better than the day I was before. You know, I'm gonna have my slip ups. I'm gonna fuck up. That's a part of that's a part of this game of life, and that's okay. So if you're beating yourself up for being so anxious or overthinking or being in your head too much or just like bringing so much anxiety onto others, man, just, it's okay. It's take a breath, man. It is okay. You know, it is a part of the experience. It is not the end of the world, and it will get better, but you have to do everything in your power to take control of your mind. You have to, and whatever that may be, try new things, try different things, listen to podcasts, listen to different things, just try a bunch of different shit that help alleviate some of that anxiety, right? Because realistically, anxiety is never gonna truly like be eliminated, right? It's not gonna be gone, but you can learn to mediate it where it's not an overwhelming factor in your life. It's not a huge weight on your shoulders all of the time. So just take it one day at a time, man. Just one fucking step at a time, and just keep going. Learn about yourself. Really do a deep dive into why you are the way that you are, right? I think for me, better understanding my anxiety and better alleviating some of that anxiety, right, is learning about myself, learning how I was raised, learning about my traumas, learning just things about myself internally that help bring clarity in a sense, right? And I'm still learning. I'm still doing everything in my power to learn, right? But it definitely helped me like address a lot of the anxiety, right? Like I'm able to catch myself right before if I go down a rabbit hole. I'm like, oh no, like, hey, come back. Like, no, that's I'm in my head too much, you know? Like you can catch yourself, you can catch your triggers, and once you can catch your triggers, once you start catching things, man, you're able to do the opposite. Like, and I forget where I heard this or where I heard this, but anytime something like that you like anytime anxiety or something makes you like want to do something, do the opposite. Do like the opposite, right? So if in a situation you're anxious because you don't want to talk to somebody, talk to that person, right? If you're anxious, you don't want to go to an event, right? Go to the event. Like, start doing the opposite to retrain and reconfigure yourself, right? Because a lot of the times too, it's like those triggers are like instilled in you from the way that you're raised, or just how, like, genetically, right? And you have to start reprogramming yourself and into the person that you truly want to be. And it takes work, and there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, but as long as you know at the end of the day that you are where you are in this moment in time for a reason, then everything's gonna be all right, man. Trust me, dog, everything's gonna be all right, because I can say this from experience. Dude, months ago, I was so sick, bro. Like, I was literally so sick, man, and I don't even know. Oh man, like, I feel anxious now, but like, it is a breath of fresh air, like being able to look back on how I was a few months ago, and that's just a few months ago of doing work, right? I can only imagine where I'm going to be at the next few months from now, how my anxiety will be the next few months from now, right? But you have to do the work, man. You have to do the work, and you have to learn about yourself. But it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. It's hard, but it's worth it. Don't push that shit off. Don't backlog it. Don't go to vices, right? Don't have vices. Don't smoke. Don't drink to numb the pain. Don't do anything to numb the pain. Like, don't scroll your phone for hours. Don't hop on TikTok or Instagram scrolling to numb that pain, man. Like, address that shit. Sit by yourself, bruh. Put your fucking phone down. Go on a walk without your phone. Just be present. Let these things come, man, because they're gonna come in your head and they're gonna leave, right? Same way that, you know, the positive things come and they leave. Those negative things are going to come and they're going to leave. But you have to address them head on, and you have to let them, you know, essentially you want them to be there to come so you can learn about, like, why am I fucking, like, you know, you're able to reflect on it, essentially. But yeah, just do the work, man. Do not push it off. I promise you it is worth it. It is worth it to do your due diligence in bettering yourself internally, man. Internally first, externally later. I think that's a great way to, you know, live. Because guess what? All that materialistic shit, all that stuff that you dream of, and all that stuff that you want in your life, man, that shit will always be there, bruh. Right? But you don't want to be in your 30s pushing later, right? Or when you got like a whole family to take care of, when you got so much weight on your shoulders. And don't take this wrong if you do have all that stuff, right? Like, everybody's got their own different paths and stuff. But for my younger cats, right, it's easier to do it when you got nothing to worry about, bro. If you're living with your parents still and you got time, man, if all you have is your 9 to 5, man, or you're just going to school, take advantage of the time to fucking learn about yourself, truly, because, like, you don't want to be older when you have people to take care of and you have a lot of shit going on in your life. Your plate is overflowing, right? It's so much harder to find that balance and stuff. And I salute the ones that are able to do that, man. God bless you guys, because that shit ain't easy. And for you guys that are doing that too, man, it's, you know, it's never too late to heal yourself as well. You know, you just gotta find the free time. You gotta make the effort, right, when you have the time. If that is getting home from work late and then hanging out with the kids a little bit, and then you got like a little sliver of window before you got to go to bed, do it in that time. Reflect in that time. Whenever you can find the time, there's always time, man. But you gotta do what's best for your schedule, bro. Don't listen to so much things externally, right? Take things with a grain of salt and add your own flavor to it, you know. But anxiety, it's a shitty thing, but it is a part of this human experience, and you will get through the overwhelming factors of it. I promise you. Just keep taking things one day at a time. Keep fucking pushing one day at a time, and just trust that everything will work out, because guess what? It will. But I love you. I'm sending my blessings your way. God is great all the time. And stay gooey. Fuck, my knee.